So, this video, I want to talk about dating. Dating as a trans woman is very complicated. Not complicated, but more like difficult. And I have made some similar videos. So I've talked about like tips on dating trans women, my crazy dating life. I've done stories where guys didn't know I was trans. I've done stories with like my experience with Grindr. And I feel like I need to like make a video of more details on how like dating is for someone like me, someone who is trans. And yeah, so this is what I want to make this video of. But anyways, yeah, so I hope this video helps those who are struggling to date or just need help or advice on dating and stuff. So yeah, I hope you enjoy this video. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. For those who don't know me, for those who are new to my channel, hi, my name is Ruby. I have talked about dating in my dating experience, but I feel like I have not gone too detailed in how it is, just because for a lot of reasons. You know, it's something really personal. Also, like, you know, dating someone who is trans, either if the person is either from female to male or male to female, like, you know, obviously we're either dating the same gender or the opposite gender, and any kind, they just get a lot of like hate for being someone who for being with someone who is trans. I have obviously not witnessed, well, actually that's a lie, I have. But I've seen it more with other couples than I've experienced with myself. With my ex, actually, there was this girl who apparently knew who he was, and she decided to like swipe up to my Snapchat story one time, and she was like, oh, I didn't know that your boyfriend was gay. And I obviously got really frustrated and very angry because, you know, so the reason why I'm talking about this is because on Facebook, an old memory came up where I had posted about, I was so tired about how people treat those specifically trans, you know, women who are dating cis men who are straight, how they get treated because, you know, dating someone who is trans and stuff. And I was just like reading it, and I was just like, I should make a video kind of related to this. So we live in a century where I think stuff like this shouldn't be such of a shock to people. You know, I feel like it should be something that it should be accepted by now, something that I know people can't understand, but at least like try to educate yourself about it. So how I've always talked about it and how I always try to explain it is that dating in general is complicated. Dating as a trans person tends to be more complicated. You know, it just adds on to telling the person that you're trans, that person either being confused or not knowing what to say, so you have to explain things to the person and try to give him enough information where he knows and is educated well enough about, you know, you being trans and what it is to be trans. So yeah, I put off dating for half a year when I started my transition. I didn't do any of it. Most of it was just fear, because there were a lot of articles where a lot of trans women were being murdered. Obviously before I even transitioned, I educated myself more about it, and I did see a lot of those kind of stories. And I live in a state where it's like overpopulated by Mormon, so my city is like super religious, which I have nothing against it. You know, my beliefs are different from other people. I'm gonna try and tell a few stories. You know, I'm not gonna make it to the point where I'm going into details because it is my private, you know, life story and my love story. And if I'm, you know, and I've made previous videos to this, is just to educate people, to help people who, you know, struggle with you know, being who they are or being secure about dating someone who is trans. You know, because it's not easy. Like I said, you know, people who tend to date trans people like get a lot of backlash. It's like, it's really shitty how all that can happen. In the status that I had posted on Facebook, I had mentioned about if I ever got in a relationship with someone, that I hope that person either, you know, knows the kind of platform that I do, because, you know, I am trying to grow my YouTube channel. I am trying to go somewhere with my channel. So obviously, like, this, if this person decides to be in my life, like, they need to know that, you know, this is going to be included into it. I obviously would respect the person if they didn't want to be too involved with my career of, you know, me pursuing YouTube and stuff like that, because I get it. I get, you know, feeling that way or being hated that way or being told things that, you know, don't feel right to you. It's really shitty to have to experience stuff like that. And I think it's totally unfair that that as trans people, like, a lot of trans women tend to, like, you know, bring down cis men for not being, you know, like, too public or whatever, stuff like that. Like, it's not their fault that the society is the way it is and that it makes people be afraid of what other people think. Like, yeah, we get it. Like, you know, people can be, you know, have the guts to come out and be the person that they're meant to be, not care what other people say. But not everyone's like us. Not everyone's going to be strong-willed. Not everyone's going to have the courage. And, you know, it does take a lot of courage to even come out to being who you want to be, let alone, like, date someone who is trans and, you know, all that stuff. It's not easy. And, you know, like, I'm the type of person that I try to put myself in situations where I understand both sides of the stories. That's why I'm, like, very mellow and, like, very, like, understanding of where people would come from. Obviously, there's a limit to where the person is, you know, afraid of what people will think. And then also there's a limit and a line cross where people just want to keep you a secret. There's, you know, I feel like there's, you can tell between those two. And I think that's where most trans women should, like, realize how, you know, that's not always going to be easy. A relationship in general is not easy. For me, like, for a while I did have this horrible habit, and talking about it now is honestly a little bit of, like, everything kind of what I stand for and what I want to be, because it sets a bad example for younger trans women or, you know, younger trans girls, let alone, like, just the trans community, you know, setting a bad example for the community. Is just that I used to have this, like, really bad habit where mid through my journey of my transition, like, I was, you know, more passable. We have this word that we use in our community where, you know, trans women are able to pass as cis women. I've honestly never admitted that I was passable. I think it's, like, really, like, unnecessary to feel like you need to be passable in order to be accepted. I have very strong, like, thoughts about that too, but and that's not what I'm trying to talk about. So yeah, so I would go on dates and not tell guys that I was transgender, and it was like a huge risk that I was taking, because, you know, it could have led to so many ways. And I've had a few stories actually on my YouTube where most of the time that I did end up telling the person that I was trans, like, they were totally okay with it. But not everyone's lucky. You know, there has been stories where there's a young girl who, she was 17 and she was going to go see this older guy. She lives in Canada. I forgot her name, but she was murdered because, like, he didn't know that she was trans. And, like, it was, like, really tough. Like, stuff like that, reading stuff like that is, like, really hard, because, like, you know, imagine me, like, it can happen to anyone. But, you know, unfortunately, saying this now, like, it sounds, like, kind of disgusting in a way, but I'm fortunate enough to, you know, look, I guess, passable. But also it's not fair for the people who I'm seeing to not tell them a side of me. You know, like, for an example, like how Nikki Tutorials, like, came out as transgender. She's, like, this huge makeup artist, and, like, she was just, like, her story, like, inspired a lot of people. But also there was a lot of upbringings about her not telling her boyfriend that she was, well, her fiance, that she was trans. And I see her point of view, because that's who I used to be and how I wanted to do things. But, you know, unfortunately, I live in Utah, and for me, like, it's such a small state, so everyone knows everyone. Even if I wanted to be quiet, people would know. But anyways, so yeah, I've been fortunate enough to where the point where guys were like, you know, like totally cool with it, and just, you know, not totally cool with it, but we're like, oh well, you know, I accept you and I don't judge you or whatever, but that's not my tea, like that's not what I'm into. And you know, a lot of people think, oh well, you're transphobic for not wanting to see me or not wanting to date me, but that's not even the case. It's that, you know, it's a lot to process, and it's not just going to happen like that. So when women, like trans women, like bring down men like that, it honestly really does piss me off, because like as a person, you know how much you struggle to being who you are. So why are you going to do that and bring someone else down when they're trying to process everything, and it's not going to make them okay or think, oh well, that's totally cool, just that, you know, like automatically. It takes time for people to try to educate themselves and see who you are as a person. So it's like a very complicated thing, you know, and it's really hard because we deal with it almost every single day of our lives. You know, I actually put off like dating after my ex for a while, and you know, I just went and like, you know, hung out with guys. But yeah, I don't know, it's really complicated. It's really not like I came to a point where when I got back to dating, actually, I came to a point where I was so exhausted of always telling guys that I was trans. And, you know, it's not that I don't mind. It's the fact that, you know, you constantly, whoever you're talking to, and you see, oh well, let's go on a date or let's, you know, do something, you're like, fuck, like he doesn't know, like you need to tell him. Because like I got to the point where I knew that it was not okay to just go on dates and not tell guys that I was trans. And honestly, it just revolved to like people being more, I feel like doing stuff like that brings, like, it makes the cis community like hate us more and judge us more. So that's where I knew that I needed to start changing my habits and start telling people who I really was, because I'm not ashamed of who I am. And you know, that's the most important thing, is that if you're ever going to be in a relationship, you need to be with someone that you don't even have to tell them that they shouldn't be ashamed of you, because you are who you are. You're a woman regardless. And that's the hard part, is that trying to find someone who is going to see you for you and is going to accept you for who you are, and not be told to accept you or to love you or, you know, etc. But yeah, so it came to a point where dating for me just, you know, came to too much for me. And I deleted my dating apps for a while. And then I was like, you know, like mentally, like I'm stronger, I'm getting better, and I want to give it a try again. So I went back into dating on dating apps. I'm going to mention a few just in case anyone wants to feel like checking them out, and where I feel like I was getting more like acceptance and stuff like that. There's this dating app called Badoo. It's like a purple dating app. I'll leave all the links down below so you guys can check them out. It was like, for me, it was one of my favorites, because like personally, like I'm attracted more to like white guys, so there was a lot of white guys there. And I also like made this like little paragraph explaining of who I was, you know, instead of telling people that I consistently that I was trans and stuff. I just made this like paragraph telling people, oh well, like, hi guys, this is my name is Ruby, and you know, like I am a transgender woman. If you don't accept that, that's totally cool, just don't disrespect me. Because like, you know, like on different apps I was getting like messages and like people telling me that I was like fooling them or stuff, when clearly my bio literally said that I was trans. How was I fooling you? If you physically or, you know, in any kind of way you find me attractive, it's not my fault. I'm a woman regardless. And if you feel like I'm, I don't know, like betraying you or like fooling you, then that's your own personal issue, because honestly, I'm a woman regardless of what you think and how you feel. But yeah, so Badoo is one of them that I used a lot. Tinder obviously was like a huge one for me too. I wasn't really as successful with Tinder as I was with Badoo. A lot of people say that they were way more successful with Tinder, but I was not. Like, I did talk to a lot of guys, and it was like, Tinder is literally just like Grindr. So if you guys don't know what Grindr is this app, well, hookup app. So a little bit about Grindr. When it was first launched, the app was technically made for gay people. you know, for gay guys to hook up and etc. But during that time, a lot of trans women were using it because, you know, they felt safe using it. They didn't have to disclose who they were. People knew they were. And the trans community just put like complaints consistently about them not having a label for trans women. So in 2017, the app became exclusive for everyone, meaning including cis people. So when you download the app, actually, it even asks you what gender you identify and your pronouns. So on Grindr, you know, I would still get messages from guys, like, you know, gay guys specifically, and be like, oh, like, what are you doing here? Like, you know, you identify as a woman and this and that. Like, what are you doing on a gay app? And I'm like, listen, sweetie, this app is not gay anymore, okay? This app became exclusive para todos, everyone. So, like, you know, I got in arguments with a lot of people too, because I was just like, I'm so like, it really does bother me when people like choose to be arrogant instead of educating themselves. Like, it's like it's my biggest pet peeve. But yeah, anyways, Grindr, I used it, of course, to like, you know, if I wanted some excitement in my life or whatever. I did go on a few actually dates, but they always led, you know. But anyways, yeah, so Tinder is a lot like Grindr, actually. I would, even though my bio was this trans woman and stuff, like a lot of guys would be like, oh, like, are you down to hook up and this and that? I'm like, okay. So I actually did it at Tinder, and I just stuck to Badoo, OkCupid. Meet Me was actually pretty fun. Oh yeah, and there was like these other two trans dating apps. One of them is called Tammy or Tammy or something like that, and the other one was called Trans Dating App or something like that. I obviously, like, I wanted to like open my battlefield or whatever, like keep it open and have, like, you know, places where, you know, I felt like I was going to be more accepted and asked more out with being freely, if that makes sense, where, you know, like, people know. I just felt like you know, obviously if guys were on those trans dating apps, they were specifically dating, only looking for trans women. So it made it easier. That's what I'm trying to say. But, so yeah, so it was like easier for me to use those trans dating apps, but they were not really my favorite. So I stuck to the ones that I liked, which is Badoo, OkCupid, and Meet Me were actually very good. OkCupid, I honestly recommend it a lot because it helps you like limit to what you're actually looking for. Yeah, so I like OkCupid a lot because it like limited everything from what you wanted to look for and what you wanted in a person. It was my favorite dating app. Badoo was my favorite one too, but it was almost the same as Tinder as well. A lot of guys just wanted to hook up, blah blah blah, but I did go on a few dates on that one. So yeah, those were my two favorite. Meet Me was okay. I didn't stay on Meet Me too long, only for like a month or so, and then I ended up deleting it after this guy hung out with me. It was just like, I was like, ugh, this is the same shit, so I just like deleted it. But yeah, those are like my favorite, like those are dating apps that I would recommend to people, and I actually always do, even to my cis friends, because, you know, a lot of them are single and they want to find a boo, whatever. But yeah, so Badoo, let's see, Badoo, Meet Me, and OkCupid were my three top ones. And I probably recommended Grindr to a few of my cis friends, because obviously, like, they're looking for something specific. You can find it on there. But Grindr, I wouldn't really recommend it if you're looking to date or to be in a relationship. It's not really the greatest app to use. But if you're just willing to like fool around, meet cool people or whatever, then I do recommend it. But other than that, if you're trying to be in a relationship or see someone seriously, I highly do not recommend the app, period. But yeah, so those are my favorite, not my favorite, but the apps that I would honestly recommend doing and, you know, recommend people to use and stuff. As I said, you know, dating in general is very complicated. Well, it's just it's difficult, but dating as a trans person just tends to be more difficult. I hope these apps could help someone, and find someone they like or whatever. So yeah, so other than that, like I said, you know, it's important to educate yourself. And as a trans woman telling, most of my viewers are from the cis community, so as a trans woman, to anyone who is, you know, has that kind of like interest or fear or anything else of dating someone who is trans, I recommend you watching videos and educating yourself the best way that you can to your ability. I feel like it helps you, but not only does it help you, but it helps the person that who is trans, who you're willing to see and who you want to see. Other than that, you know, trans women, we're not here to secure you of your masculinity or your, you know, who you're attracted to. That's your job. Your job to know who you want, who you're attracted to, who you want to be with, or, you know, etc. You know, our job is basically doing our best to our ability to educate people. And that's what my channel is. Educating people the best way that I can. And most of the stories that I do are things that I have experienced and I have gone through. But yeah, so I hope this video helps someone. I mainly made this video for my trans community, because I do want people, like, everyone, I feel like as a person, I always ask people like what was like the, you know, like some of my trans friends, like what was like the good dating apps to use, you know, because everyone wants to find love, everyone wants to be happy with someone. So, you know, it was like very difficult for me to find a platform or an app or, you know, online dating or whatever where I would be comfortable and feel like I was going to be safe. I obviously just ended up finding them myself. But yeah, these are just things that I hope people can take and, you know, use for information. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video and I hope you learned something new. Oh, also, I know some trans women are bisexual or lesbian. So if you guys are not aware, Tammy is actually also a very good dating app to use if you're trying to see other women. I obviously don't have a lot of experience in that because I'm strictly a love man, period. But yes, I actually did ask one of my friends and she obviously likes women, so nothing against her because I love her to death and I respect her for who she is and who she wants to be with. But yeah, the tea is that I just don't, physically, I don't think I could ever date someone as the same gender. Like, I'm already complicated as it is. Like, imagine dating someone else like me. Fuck no. But anyways, yeah, so I don't want to make this just like about like straight people, like, you know, everyone deserves a chance of happiness. But yeah, Tammy's also like a really good dating app. It's also like for, I guess, like it's like a trans dating app, but also like for everyone to be able to use. I did check it out once, like a long time ago, but I don't know how it has changed. I'll leave the link down below so you guys can check it out too. But yeah, so again, thank you for watching this video. I hope you learned something new and I hope you continue watching me grow as a person and just grow my channel in general. Thank you again for the support, the little support that I do get. So, I mean it. But yeah, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Also, don't forget to turn that little bell on so you get notified every single time I post something, because who doesn't want to know what this bitch is doing every day? Want to see me post cute pictures and stuff and like be cute or whatever? Like, watch, like, follow me on Instagram. I'll leave all that stuff, information down the description box below, and also will be the end of the video. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you guys next time. Ciao.